being from West Philly, and I was seeing them everywhere I went, and it was just kind of amazing to me, like, you know, that these guys could repeatedly, night after night, go out and put their name up, and it's to the point where I could see where it was a new tag where one wasn't before. And I kept saying I like the pattern my style behind that, you know, to be able to be known everywhere I go. And another thing, I started writing my name. I've had other names before I just started writing my name, but I figured that I would be original by doing so. And again, going back to Oaks and stuff, Philly is based on originality. So, you know, there's a lot of guys out there writing other people's names and, you know, biting their styles and different stuff, man.
It's your own stuff.
We've been doing what we do for the last 30-something years, Bik and I, you know, ICP and San Juan, and it seems like no one has taken that style to its pinnacle.
Right. It
seems like it started and it stops with us. And that's a sad testament to Philly Graffiti because, you know, if you think about New York style, you think about the throw-ups and the blow-ups and different things they was doing in the 80s, suppose it would just stop right there. You know, it wouldn't be no FX crew, wouldn't be none of the wild style pieces, none of that, if no one tried to expand and take it from where it was at, the grassroots, and expand it, you know, use your creativity, your imagination. And they're not doing that with Philly styles, and we're the only city in the nation that write the way we do.
Exactly. If you look at graffiti all around the world, they tend to try to imitate the New York style.
Oh, right.
You know, Philly has its own unique style, and you know, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's what separates you from everybody else. And to piggyback on what my man Dave was saying, nobody's really taking it to that next step. People still trying to write like we was writing back in '79. I retired in '79. People still trying to write like I did back then, and they still ain't even come up to that level yet.
Right.
You know, at the risk of sounding big-headed, that's just the truth. Like Dave said, back then you took some pride in having originality. You didn't want to take nobody else's name. You didn't want to use nobody else's letters. You wanted to come up with your own stuff.
Exactly.
And I don't really see that now. Not the down the younger generation, because I'm sure they got some decent people who want to be more creative, but they just scared to be. You got to shut that fear aside.
Right.
We put my young boy. He ain't even a boy, he's a grown man. But Sleaz gonna be the best that ever came because he got a lot to build on. You know, he got a lot of people that will help him out as far as originality, and he got what's called the ism to him, meaning that he has his own creativity. He has a thing about him that no matter what you show him, he's going to be able to improve on. That's what has to happen.
Right, and it seems fitting to say that, you know, it's like a passing of the guard, so to speak. It's like, you know, we seen that he had an interest in the styles and the ism, and he knew his history, and he definitely wanted to expound on that. And I think that, you know, as far as the other cats I see out here now, you know, it seems like everybody is on a KNP/Cadism type of style. Everybody's writing the same type of letters or whatever have you, same tall hand, plain hand, and they call them wickets, and you know, it's not so. You know, wickets is by definition the start and the beginning of a line that really has no conformity to it.
Exactly.
But once you're done, it's a symbol, it's a sign, you know, it's a statement, you know, I mean, it can be unorthodox, it can be contrary to what, you know, people think
is doing
right, you know what I mean, but in definition, you know, wicked is being able to take that line from beginning to end, connect it, and make something out of it. I mean, you know, even if you can read it or not, the whole purpose of it was like almost a secret society type of thing for only writers, only other writers to be able to acknowledge and identify with.
Understand.
Right, you know, it's like an esoteric type of thing at one point. And but it seems to be the style that's it's world renowned by, you know, Philly artists that, you know, this style was created here and has yet left this place. And No other. I haven't seen nobody from France, Germany, anybody do the styles that we do.
They can't do it. That's why. I ain't hating on. I mean, I ain't mean cut you off.
No,
Yeah. These other places. You gotta figure it's 2006. Y'all been writing since, you know, before I was born, and now it's like, you know, graffiti is cool now. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know,
legal walls, legal and stuff walls, like that,
and not even that. It's just like how they just like, you know, they got a Louis Vuitton purse with graffiti on it.
Right.
It's like they raping us and we ain't getting a dime.
Exactly.
And then it's like back to, you know, to touch on what he was saying about how Philly, how we write. Can't no other place do it because everywhere else they write in cursive or with script hands. And that, I mean, that's cute, but that ain't what we do.
Exactly.
And then that wicked shit, especially, is ours.
Right.
Can't nobody do nothing with it. You understand what I'm saying? And then it's like for the day, for my generation, I don't really see nobody, and I ain't saying it because it's me, and I ain't saying it because, you know, my hand crazy enough. You know, my hand is crazy, but I don't see nobody really, you know, taking what y'all did 20 years ago and doing something with it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
that's the point I was trying to make.
They think because they, you know, they take their letters and they make them tall and they put a little squiggly line and a star with a lightning bolt in the face, and then it's wicked. That ain't wicked.
That's not really, and you're absolutely right.
That ain't wicked because the stuff. See, they don't. You know, I'll be around y'all, so the stuff that I be saying that y'all be writing, and the stuff that, you know, I be saying, that's some wicked shit. And that shit's spooky. That's my definition of a wicked. It's supposed to scare you. Like, listen to the name. It's supposed to be wicked. You're supposed to see that shit and like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? And then it's like when niggas be getting to doing, because I'm 6'4", I get to doing them top to bottoms, and them joints just be all over the place, and not all over the place in a bad way, in a good way, you know what I'm saying? And then you got, you know, Daveski, his other name is Zab, if I could put it out there, that Zab retarded.
Yeah.
He do it backwards. Don't
right.
nobody do that no more.
Exactly.
My old head Notorious Bik, how he do his thing, I still can't write it like him. I could write a whole bunch of names, I still ain't got his name. You know what I'm saying? We got dudes in my club named Maniac, and the history I get on him is that when he first started writing in the 70s, he came out with a hand. Exactly. Ain't nobody since then did that.
Exactly.
You feel what I'm saying?
Maniac had his own chamber. I was telling my man that Maniac was one of the. Matter of fact, he's the only person that I know who never really had an oak phase. Okay, when he first started writing, he was MA. He had the same basic style he got now. It's a style that's transcended every decade since he came out. That's amazing. Okay. Once again, not taking nothing away from the younger cats because they the ones that got to keep this thing going. Work on originality. Okay. Work on some stuff that you can be proud of. You know, you don't want to look back at your old hits and say, damn, that shit is ugly. Why the hell did I do that?
You tell them how it was back when y'all was writing, when a dude would copy off your letter. How that shit would turn into something.
Let me tell you something, man. When I first started, once again, Oak Phase, there was a guy out called Badass Kevin. Back had a very original beat.
Yes, he did.
Now, when I came out, he was back, I was big. Okay? B-A-K and B-I-K. I was using or trying to use his beat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that motherfucker sucker punched me. You know what I'm saying?
About a letter.
Sucker punched me about a letter. But, I mean, of course, I had to get mine back. But the point I'm trying to make is that you had to have your shit. You didn't take nobody else's shit, or if you took it, you expanded on it. You know, you had to have enough ism to make it your own. For instance, JS, his S's.
Right.
Lots of people use them S's. Donski,
Right.
I-ski, Boneski, right. They all use that S, but they did it a little differently. They all had their own little different take on it, which made JS didn't have to whip their ass. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you notice, nobody really came out with JS's J with their hat on it. Because once you did that,
that's JS J.
That's his J. And everybody knew you was biting. You couldn't come down 11 for Market Street with that shit because you get your ass whipped, people take your paint, take your market, you was a hoe. You know what I'm saying? That's the other thing. 11 for Market, you gotta talk about 11 for Market. If we gonna talk about the history of graffiti, you gotta talk about 11 for Market.
11 for Market was the Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
11 for Market was...
Let me say I'm mad that I wasn't old enough to participate in 11 for Market, but go ahead.
11 for Market. It was like the ground zero, man, for graffiti artists, man. I mean, like, that place was like the gathering.
Exactly.
So many people go to visit ground zero and look at the, what's left of the ruins. That's how 11 for Market was.
11 for Market was like New York's writer bench.
That's right. They would gather.
Exactly.
Saturdays and even on Sundays. You catch them on those Sundays. Down there at Zounds, at the Funk Mart, and different places. And books and photos and
writing contests.
Exactly. Yeah, writing contests. That's where you made your rep at.
That's where you made your rep at.
Okay, you couldn't come down. 11 for Market was, like Dave said, a gathering of wall writers, hustlers.
That's right.
Just stones out and out crooks, all gathered down 11 for Market Street on Saturday. It was very common to see 40, 50 people down. It was like crime school. And as far as the graph was concerned, that's where you met other graph writers. That's where you worked on your hands. That's where you got your reputations as far as being a good writer. Whether you was
the first time you ever seen a black book.
Exactly. Black
first
books
time you ever seen a black
came down
book.
in love for Market Street and turned it out.
Right.
Okay. But once again, that's where you met different people. Writers never managed to look like what you thought they looked like, and it was always a thrill to meet a new writer. But once again, that was also where you had your writing contest. Me myself, I went through a few of those writing contests, and that was basically where I got my reputation as being the king of style down in 11 for Market. It was a time where you couldn't just say you was king.
Right.
Or the king of style.
Yeah, touch on that.
Right.
Okay, you couldn't just walk around and talk about how great you was and this and this and that and that.
Right.
You had to show and prove. You had to have your peers had to come and tell you that you was the best, and that's what happened. JS Johnsky at that time was king of the walls, not because he said he was king of the walls, but because every other writer out there said he was king of the walls.
Right.
Okay. NB wasn't the king of style because he said he was the king of style. He was king of style because his peers down there acknowledged him as being the king of styles. And it's a reputation I've kept up until this day so far. I'm proud of that.
Speaking of, I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
Speaking of kings and styles and that stuff, there wasn't no such thing as being self-anointed.
Exactly.
You are a fan, also a competitor. It was like a sport.
It's a competitive sport.
Now, of course, you would come down and the rap would be, whoa, man, you see what so-and-so did to the trolleys. Oh, you see what so-and-so did to the tunnels. So your mission that night would be
go out there and do that.
Do the same thing.
Yeah.
Do the same thing.
Yeah.
So next week you come down to the meet and they be like, yo,
damn, I seen what you did.
David did the tunnels, they did the rails, they did
damn, Sleaz did the pussy to the tube route. Did you see that?
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it was about.
That's what it was about.
That's just what it was about.
And even though a lot of dudes had millions of dollars worth of damage done, under their belt as a graffiti artist, they was always still a fan too.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if that's still, the routine now because
they lost that.
Me and Dave, we've been around, for a while, but we always acknowledge that we are fans of graffiti. It thrills us to meet different guys because we may have seen their stuff and liked it. It ain't nothing like being admired by your peers. Nothing like it. And being a fan, that's what you go for. And for the admiration of your peers.
And to be humble.
Exactly.
I knew guys, I remember I met them dudes, they was young boys, they didn't come off the steps yet. But I always treated each and every one of them as if we were equal. Because you never know, this guy might be the next king.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I remember meeting Sub and all them dudes, man, when they was just neighborhood writers. I remember this. They come in, around, sign my book and all that. I'm like, all right, cool. But I remained humble. I didn't have no big head, even though, I had quit in 81, came back in 83 and all. I ain't had no big head about, and I was still a fan. Sub will tell you I took pictures of him doing this piece before and after the submarine joint. I was a fan.
Yeah.
I was a fan.
See, Dave was a much better person than I was, because when I was writing, I was not a well-liked writer because I was very arrogant. And I mean, heads would come down, yo, I'm gonna be in Sam. I'd be like, fuck no, get out of here, you can't write. And I said that to kings, people who went on to become kings or were acknowledged as kings back then. You know, I turned them all down because I wanted my club to be elite, and it kept that throughout. You know, throughout all these decades, Sam has always been known as an elite crew. Now, ICP, I say ICP, the original ICP, they were one of they were the first group where writers were throwing up their club on a regular. There were clubs out before ICP, but it wasn't like Cornbread and them had a club. But you hardly never knew it. But you had people like Hip, ICP, that's what it was, Hip, ICP. He threw his club up. Evil would write ICP. Okay?
They let you know what
they let you know where they was from. Now, after them, boom, it came HCS. Hip City Swingers.
Right.
HCS was really the first, it was the prototype of every bombing type club that came after.
Every club wanted to be
every
like
club
HCS.
that came after them wanted to be like HCS because they killed everything.
Everything.
You know, they was no joke. You had all the, you had millions of, you had KNP, you had KNS, you had KCD, you had KRW, KRH, all these different clubs, but they all came out with the purpose of trying to be like HCS.
Right.
You know, so HCS was the prototype of those types of things. BSB.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Wanting to come out and bomb like at HCS. So you got to give HCS their place in the history of graph because they were a prototype.
Right.
You understand where I'm coming from?
They set the standard.
They set the standard. Right. Everybody wanted to be like them. You had just like you got to get a prop to Cornbread, whether people like him or whether they had as many hits as him or more than him or not. He was the first. He was the prototype.
Right.
You got to give him props. You know, you had a club like Sam. We were a prototype of an elite type club. Everybody couldn't get in that joint.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You had to have a certain standard to even sit at our fucking table. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You could be a king of the walls. That when you was sitting at our table.
Yeah. You can't write, you ain't.
You understand what I'm saying? I always tell people, anybody, any respectable graffiti writer can write their name. You're supposed to be able to write your name. You're supposed to be the best at writing your name. That ain't saying nothing. But they had true style, be able to have a real hand, you got to go beyond that. And that's what Sam was. And that's what Sam is.
And to speak as far as ICP, we was passed the baton back in 78, maybe 78, 79, and the original ICP being that would be Jay, myself, JK. Let's see, it was Mad. There was AB, BX, and eventually So Bad, SB. As far as original, it was only like 5 or 6 of us, and we kept it that way for at least a decade. I was the only guy from West Philly at one point in ICP, as far as the version that y'all know now.
Mm-hmm.
And
because Duck used to write ICP too.
Yeah, Duck, right.
Before we really got Duck was like Duck was one of the few people writing ICP for a while there.
Yeah, Duck definitely Duck. And as far as ICP goes, a lot of us have styles, and a lot of us we never exploited that stuff. A lot of us was like, we was in the books with the wild style pieces back then in the 80s and stuff like that. We had New York styles, we had sly artistic styles and stuff like that. But what made us different was that, like MD said, if you seen something, is to be able to take it and make it your own.
Exactly.
So that's what made us a little different from Sam. Sam had their style.
Plus, y'all was bombing.
Yeah, and we were known as bombers. We were known as like
vandals.
We would definitely turn down the city.
Shit down.
We ain't gonna even hold you on that. My hat's off to guys like Cad and Mark Brooks and all of them. They cool. I love Mark Brooks to death. That's my man. But them dudes know that when it comes to this bombing shit, as a club,
that's right.
As a club,
that's
which
right.
means that
ICP was the next HCS as far as bombing.
We followed that footprint.
Exactly.
We followed those footprints of ACS because we started naming ACS. You started naming guys like Fox and JS and Tank and all these guys and Weed and all this. Each and every one of them got their rep in their own right.
Exactly.
I mean, they could, they could be king in their own right, each and every one of them. And so we pattern ourselves behind that. You mention my name, you say, damn, that boy's a king. You mention Casper J, damn, he's a king. You mention Mad, damn, he's a king. You mention JK, damn, he's a king. You mention So Bad, damn, he's a king.
Duck.
So that's, Duck, he's a king. So we pattern ourselves behind the ACS move of being, each and every one of us being able to hold our own right. I mean, there was wars going on in the 90s when we came back out. And let me put this out there. Rev, a.k.a. Mad, the young boy who I taught everything he fucking know, he's responsible for that whole revolution of the rap coming back out. I remember in 93 he came to my house, him, Sub, and BX. And he had paint with him. So I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Now, Duck never stopped writing, so I'm like, see, we talking about a guy who stopped.
Duck been writing since like 74.
And he ain't never
really stopped.
Okay, so that's the difference. Rev was an inactive writer, but he was still tagging and doing shit on his own. And he was inspiring enough to get people who had reps and retired with their crowns and all that and their glory to bring them back out. He was that type of dude. So he came to my house. When he came to my house and he had RX and VX, I'm like, what the fuck is this about? So we sitting there, we talking and whatnot. It's Dave, man. Let's go get some hits. I'm like, hits? I'm like, I'm like a pimp at this point. You know what I mean? I'm little paper. I'm doing all these different things. I'm like, yo, I'm not writing on no walls. You're not gonna get me there on no walls, man. Y'all motherfuckers is crazy. But I seen the fucking glow in their eyes. They were like, like they was really getting hits. I said, what? All right, let's go around the corner. Going around the corner led to going all the way up Woodland Avenue, Chester Avenue, Baltimore Avenue, all the way around. And that night we got chased, and I'll never forget it. We always running, laughing down the street. And I'm like, damn, I'm too old for this shit. I get to the house, we laughing, we panting and everything. I said, but damn, I miss that shit, that thrill. You know what I mean? That whole excitement of writing. You know what I mean? Because I'm definitely one that never been caught for writing. One time under my eldest, when we pieced Central High School. And when I say peace, I mean, yes, what the fuck we did. We pieced the motherfucker. Me, Satan, and Casper. And you guys from Uptown, they remember it. And I got caught that night. I'll never forget that. But other than that, I was untouchable. I used to call myself the fugitive. Dr. Richard Kemble.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'd never be caught. I could never get caught. And that was my thing. And the guys that know me for all them years, I was running on the run with bench warrants and all that. And I'm still out there writing every night. I'm bombing. So I'm doing throw-ups, wall to wall, street to street corner. Like I do, we get a tag. I'm like, well, fuck that. Everywhere motherfucker got a tag, I want throw-ups. So that was my whole new thing. So I reinvented myself. I said, okay. I quit in 81, came back in 83, got some hits. I quit again in 85, and I said, all right, I ain't done nothing in years. So if I'm going to do it this time, I'm going to do it differently. I don't want to be writing Dave Skis every fucking way. I've done that, did that. Sad to tell you, I'm the original king of pose. You know what I mean? I taught him how to do that shit. So Jap, all of them, they'll attest to that. So I said to myself, I want to do throw-ups. I want to do the fill-ins. Because that was something that I figured I would be able to raise my standards another level, another notch in my belt, so to speak. Because, we had a lot of young guns during ICP at the time. We had Coast, Socks, we had a lot of different dudes, crews and whatnot, and even though we were all family, there was still competition even between us. For instance, you had the X-Men, we had the S-Men, we had a lot of prominent cats that was in our club that was tearing shit down their own right. So I chose to take on a partner of a different type. I chose Kim. Out of all the people I could have been writing with, which I wrote with all of them, SN, everybody in my crew. But Kim became like my main combo. Jay was my combo from the 70s all the way through the 80s. You know, he lived around the corner from me, down there all my life. You know, we were in, he was in K&P at the time. I was trying to get into K&P. I had several different names before I started writing Dave. And
K&P Club Notorious Prisoners.
Props to Herman and Human and Pecan, rest in peace. E-Man, Ant-Man, Wolfman.
You was in K&P, wasn't you?
I was in K&P.
You was in KCD, right?
I was in KCD, yeah. Club City Decorators.
And we had a guy around our way named KS, Kupski.
Oh, Kuski was vicious.
And he was the one who introduced us to the whole K&P thing. Him and Jay was real close. But going back to '93, when we started this whole revival thing, when I had people like, let's say, Raz and Star and Ra Ra and all these different people coming past my house just on GP stuff, just to see the lost archives I had. 11 Market Street books by a boy named Zoot, MCT.
Zoot Sam 1.
Sam 1. And Zoot.
That's right, Zoot was a bad boy.
I worked with a friend, a relative of his actually named by the name of Hoot. So he was a wannabe writer.
Okay.
Marking himself behind Zoot. He's always, give Zoot these big ups. And I'm just listening to him one day working on South Street. This had to be everybody 84, 85. And he's like, I got some books you might be interested in. I said, really? I said, what kind of books are they? He said, they're black books. So I said, really? I said, bring them in. Who's in them? He said, everybody's in them. I said, well, that's just to be told. Let me see the books. He brings the books to work, open them up, Way, Taz, JS, articles of Johnsky writing on the back of an L. A picture of Johnsky writing on the back of an L. I'm like, whoa.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Where's this shit? Pretty Boy and I mean, so many different people. Cat. I mean, so many different people. I'm like, yo, we had 2 black books. I said, how much do you want for these books? I got them for like maybe $5 a piece. They was nothing to him. He had no idea. But to me, they was lost archives.
He didn't know what he had.
He didn't know what he had. 11 Market Street books. I mean, where people was in there actually versing each other.
Mm-hmm.
JS versus Duck right in the book. Their hands. These books are priceless, and to this day they're lost. But it breaks my heart. But anyway,
I understand.
Getting back to the Thorpes and stuff of that nature. Back in the '90s, we brought dudes back out, and I figured I took on Kim. Now, my thing with Kim was they call you queen, whatever. I said, we got a little history, but I remember when I met you in the gallery in '82, '83, you damn near famous. Mm-hmm. So that tells you something about me.
Right. All right.
You damn near faded. I mean, you was there with Baby Rock, Cat. I remember the whole spill. You know what I mean? Right. Delta, y'all was down there. And you had your little Catholic skirt on and whatnot and everything.
She was still in school.
And Jay was airbrushing down the gallery at that time. And it was me, Schoolie D, and Jay.
Okay.
And they introduced her to Schoolie D and everything. But when they introduced her to me, they had to catch her.
It's been that way ever since.
It's been that way ever since.
If it ain't like that, something wrong.
It's been like that ever since.
So, I took Kim and, little white girl off the steps at Kensington. I'll never forget it.
Kim was cool, though. Kim was good people.
It seemed like I could have went all around the world with her. Man, because, she got an indomitable spirit. I mean, she's a beast. I mean,
Karma's like that, too.
Karma's like that now. Yeah,
Karma's a beast.
Yeah, Karma's like that now.
Karma, if you go right with Karma, I had the privilege of just, at one time. You can tell Karma got it in her.
She got the spirit. I love
she
Karma.
She definitely does.
That's my future baby mama.
But anyway.
I did
have to tell her that if any, of course with my chauvinistic self, if any chick ever got into Sam, I'd have to bone her.
Oh boy. Chauvinistic pigs.
Oh boy.
I'd have to bone her.
Okay. Anyway, it got to a point where we were untouchable, and even with the revival, all the new crews out, Law and Sam, and all not pretty much Sam, because the Star came out. I don't think he was representing Sam that hard, but he was like the only one at that time when Graffiti came back out that was really writing. So it was like Star and a few of the cats, but going back to new crews. You had UTS, the 5 different dudes coming up. So of course, everybody wanted to challenge who's the king on the fucking hill. Who is it? Well, these guys right here. So what they do, they came out our throats. So being a club that we were, people picked their own poison. S-Men said, look, we'll handle that shit. Y'all keep on.
Tell them who the S-Men is.
Oh, So Bad and Satan. No doubt. So Bad and Satan. You know what I mean? Before the UTS thing came out, now I'll tell you about the decision, the decisiveness of SN then. He decided to jump ship and bring out his own little squad, little young guns, and we had to smack him up and put him in their place. And the main dude that was crushing them not only was from their hood, he lived right around the corner from them all that time, they didn't know it. Coast. Coast was the arch rival. Coast, C-O-S-E, was the arch rival of UTS. MKN had it out for him. But little did they know, they lived right around the corner from each other. That's how beautiful the shit was. When I used to
That's what's great about Grabs. It was originally supposed to be an anonymous type thing.
Right.
You know, people were supposed to wonder, who's that person? Why I see this person's name on it? Who is this person? Mm-hmm. But that's what happened with the Coast, and that's what it sounded like. Mm-hmm. They ain't know who he was.
They ain't know who he was. And at this time, going back to the 5, like I said, S-Men and them smacked them up. But still, we were still doing our own thing. Me and Kim had went on and do about maybe 200 throw-ups, you know, together. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, she had at least 180 something running. I had like 180 something running. There was no underpass. There was no wall. There was no street. There was no track that we wasn't on. And it got to the point where, you know, when her and SB were seeing each other, SB was like, I don't want you to go out tonight. Stay in the house. I'm coming by to get you. And I come by and say, fuck that. You going out.
We out.
SB trying to keep you in the house so you won't get his rep. Alright? You going out. Come on. Fuck him. Yeah, Dave, fuck him. That's right, fuck him. Come on, we go out, we bomb, you know. I think he's back in the house before he come by. You know, we go out, we tear the city up, and I take it back in the house real quick. Let's be like, you go out tonight? She be like, no, I ain't go out. And let's be ride through the city, say, damn, I see all these new big ass fillers and shit. Yeah, we was killing it. Sorry. But there was a little rivalry between each other. It wasn't known, I mean, like openly. You know, like Coast and Sox, they comboed, they killed it. You know, Jay and whoever he was with, they was doing their thing. You know, So Bad, SN, whoever else. Supposed Indio. Whoa. I can tell you stories about Supposed Indio. Cozy. I can tell you stories about these dudes, man. I mean, like, you know, But what killed me was the dude that really got us all fired up, fell back, mad, red. I want to start all this graffiti stuff right now to this day. I gotta beg him to get a hit. Mm-hmm. Yo, man, get a hit with me. I don't do this shit no more. I said, motherfucker, you got me back out here. You know what I mean? I was in hibernation for 20 years. You got me back out here. What you mean you ain't gonna get a hit, you know? Yeah, what kind of shit is that? You know? But ICP, like Bik was saying, you know, we were known for total destruction, man. You know, and like I said, we had styles. Even when So Bad came to Sam 1, he already had a hand. Mm-hmm. Now
that's why he got in Sam. And
what killed me was like most of the guys I know that was in Sam was either taught by him or shown something or given a hand or something. You know what I'm saying? Them guys is just, you know, just walk in Sam 1 without having some type of ism with them. Right. So that was a testament again to us.
Can I cut in?
Yeah.
Can you tell these people what ism is, please?
I'm gonna let the man, the president of ism, explain that his damn self. What is ism?
You got it.
Don't nobody got it.
You got it.
But me.
Yeah.
I'm the only nigga in the millennium with ism. You did.
Okay.
So y'all got to tell these people what ism is.
What is ism, bro?
If you don't know what it is, that means you ain't got it. No, ism is. It's like a coolness. It's not even that. It's a hipness that you have about you, the way you handle yourself. That's an ism. Let me see.
Ism's always been determined a negative, like, you know, like a handicap or disease or something like that. So, but in graffiti, as with everything, that's against the original culture. We flipped it.
Right. We flipped it
We
to
flipped
make it seem
so
like
even
like for instance, George Clinton has ism.
right.
Slide,
Dick Cheney don't.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You know, it's like a hipness that you have about you, the way you carry yourself, the way you actually are. You can't fake it. You either have it or you don't. And in Sam, we pride ourselves on the people having ism. Dave, even though he's stone cold ICP, he's an honorary Sam member because Dave is flowing with ism. You can tell by the way he carries himself. You know, the way he thinks. Ism is also a way of thinking.
Wait, right there,
it's the
Sam
coolness
shit.
about you.
Got that ism in it.
Right. Even people who are not in Sam, like say Shark. Shark got ism.
Right.
Shark is a bad boy. Eyes got ism.
Yeah.
Just coolness to him. You know, that's what ism is.
Right.
When we had stopped Sam, when I had quit in '79, I had basically thought that was the end of Sam. And in the early '80s, people like Beat Artists, and I got a cousin named Creole, had wanted to be in Sam, but I didn't think I was going to bring Sam back out. I didn't want to come up with a Sam Chapter 2 because I think all Chapter 2s is booty.
And we're going to talk about that also.
That's ridiculous. I never liked the idea of a Chapter 2. So I came out with a club, ISM, just for them. You know, it's going to stand for like International Sam Monsters. You know, they could be in Sam, but it was something all they own that they could fly with. That kind of like fell to the side and we just started letting them do Sam.
Right.
But you know, ism has always been there. You know, and you meet people who have it, and you instantly cool with them. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way I could describe this. You know it when somebody has it, and you know it when somebody don't have it.
Right.
You know.
And like I said, a lot of us already have that. I mean, you know, it's almost like you know how hip hop is. Like, you know,
Exactly.
you know, you know what's hitting and what it ain't hitting for, and we always had that, and we just never, like, we looked at Sam for a long time as rivals because we felt like we was on the same levels. You know what I mean? We was on the same levels with Grab, even though we was a bombing crew and we could do New Yorkers and pieces and stuff like that. We were more or less, you know, still bounded by the style of originality and, you know, making shit wicked and you know what I mean, have ism to it. And like I said, with SB getting in San Juan was a true testament that let us know that we had it because we taught SB. We gave SB all his hands and all his styles. So when they just grabbed him and took him in like family, it was like a flag for us saying, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, because that's our student.
There you got it. There you got it.
And he's accepted, you know what I mean, no hands down. He was accepted, you know, by this elite club. It's going back to that. An elite club throughout the city that, you know, everybody knows is hard to get in. You know, and just for them to grasp him like that, we was like, oh shit, we can be in here at any time. We taught him, you know. But like he said, I'm true ICP, and I never wrote anything else besides ICP since I got in it. When we talk about Chapter 2s, there was so many people jumping on the bandwagon trying to write ICP that wasn't an ICP. We came out with another one called NSA, No Suckers Allowed. The original ICP, the 5 or 6 of us, we had the doors closed till we let SN and RN in around 83, 84. And after them, it was closed again for a long time until, I guess, like close to the 90s. We started letting people in again. And it kind of got out of hand because it seemed like if you just knew somebody from ICP, you could write it. And, you know what I mean, and that wasn't really cool with me. But I'm living on one side of town. I got my own life over here. I got Jay over this side and this side. So, you know, I asked somebody, yo, how does so-and-so? Well, that's SP's people. Well, how does so-and-so? Well, that's J people. Well, how does so-and-so? Well, that's JK people, you know. But, again, you know, it was flowing like that for a while. So it didn't mean anything to be president or vice president.
It took away all the
way, you know what I mean, the merit of the club. And, but I kept saying to myself, I'm always going to separate myself even from the guys I'm in the club with. They're going to know who's ICP and who's not. Just by the way I do my thing. So, going back to the whole thing about Chapter 2s, we came up with a No Suckers Allowed. And that was like to separate ourselves from other guys who was writing ICP. that really wasn't really down and go through the shit we had to go through to get in it. And let's say, No Suckers Allowed, a couple of people who grasped onto that real tight. Socks, So Bad loved it, Wicks loved it, Mad was one, JK was one, Jay was one. But if I speed up to the guys like ADS and Prozac and them, they were like the last guys to get in it. And they repped it so tight, and it caught my eye. I went on and said, listen, let me give you a shot at the eye.
Right.
I'm going to give you a shot. I don't give a fuck what nobody say, you know what I mean? You know.
Right.
You know, we can argue this shit all day long.
Right.
I want y'all to rep it.
Right.
Just don't disappoint me. I'm going to tell everybody I'm letting y'all in. And to this point, when it comes on like the passing of the guard, like we talk about Sleaz with San Juan, I do believe that with the proper grooming and whatnot, the ADS and Prozac and everybody else who I put in this last little chain.
Talk about how when you put supposing them in, the niggas was acting like, you know, they wasn't that, but then now, 10, 12 years later, everybody bowing down, you know what I'm saying?
Right, even before Supposed, Mad. I can go all the way back to Mad. I remember Mad said, what's up my window when me and JP up there smoking weed and drinking beer and looking down at him like, fuck you want? Send him to the store and get a beer or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He ain't nobody, you know what I mean? He's in training. I got him. You know what I mean? So I say so. And we trained him, we gave him a hand, and now Mad's a king with 5 fucking different names.
Yeah.
Only nigga in history, king with 5 names.
Okay? 5, 6 different names. He's a king in it. And this is the same person that people was telling me, oh, he ain't got no hand, he ain't ICP material, he ain't that. I said, okay, alright, whatever, alright, you know. Mad turned out to be a fucking beast.
Yes, he did.
He turned out to be a beast. And he snatched motherfuckers that I know that was king status rep. I watched him do it. He told me he was going to do it. He used to come to my house and say, yeah, you know, so-and-so and so-and-so, I'm going to take his rep. I said, really? You going to do that? He said, yeah, I'm going to do that. Alright. I sit back and watch. I was retired. I didn't care. You know what I mean? Mad would carry this ICP on his back, man. Carried on his back, man. And well, my hat's off to him and shit. Even though he's dealing with a little sickness, but Mad, he always be remembered as one of those dudes that was counted out and turned out to be a 5-time champ.
Yeah, he's a definite beast.
Rev,
Definite beast.
when I was a kid, I used to see that Rev shit like, because I thought it wasn't graffiti because it was in cursive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just, because you a kid, you just learn how to read in cursive. I'm like, Rev. I'm like, what the and it's like, I'm talking like 84, 83, and this shit was all over the place.
Right.
Come to find out, as I get older, he official. You know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga's an animal, you know what I'm saying?
Man.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
crazy.
Definitely.
And I think that, graffiti's been alive ever since 93 because of him.
Okay.
Because of him.
Okay. That's
You know
what's
what I mean? Cad and all them other different cats, all them dudes, they need to know that. That, that graffiti is alive, and them on-the-go books and Espo and all the rest of them dudes that took off and did whatever they did is because of the fact that Rev carried Philly graffiti on his back.
I'm gonna tell you, I'll be the first to admit, from like, I don't know, 82 on up to maybe 94, 95. I wasn't even up on graffiti. But I still don't, for the life of me, don't know how Espo became an expert on Philadelphia graffiti. I just don't get it. He put his book out, great, more power. I ain't never gonna knock nobody's hustle. That's not what I do. You get yours. But when he become an expert on Philadelphia graffiti, he wasn't around when I was around. He don't know nobody who was, as far as I know, down here from Market Street. I don't know this cat, but he's an expert. He put his little book out. Okay, cool. But the stuff you got in there ain't factual. Whoever you got your information from, they faked you out.
I can remember.
You understand what I'm saying? Not saying, now, don't get me wrong, the boy got skills.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's a beast. He definitely got skills. But he wasn't out when I was out.
I feel you.
You understand what I'm saying? I ain't never hear nobody saying, wow, Espo this, Espo that. Only thing I heard was yeah, this kid, you know, he live in New York now. You know, he put up pieces, he put up these little, and his shit was good. But he ain't go through the shit that I went through. He ain't go through the shit Dave went through. You know, to be recognized as like a Philly legend. I don't see it. I don't see it. You understand what I'm saying? Don't pass yourself off as an expert if that's not what you are.
I also think, man, that, you know, a lot of chambers of recognition has been skipped over when it comes to Philly graffiti. Like,
I think so. I definitely think so.
I think that it don't take. You can do 2 pieces now and be recognized as some type of king.
As some kind of king.
And
I don't understand that. I don't
the
get
vanguard
it.
back then.
Exactly.
That was not the way you did it.
You had to put in the work.
To be a king,
you had to be all city.
All
you couldn't
city.
just be in your neighborhood.
With style.
You understand? You understand where I'm coming from?
Scepter.
Me and Dave always talk about this.
there was so many different things you had to do. I mean, I remember
you
getting
had
my
to bang scepter.
Yes, you did.
You had to bang them motherfuckers, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. You not only had to bang scepter, you had to get the walls, you had to get the roofs, you had to get the undergrounds. You had to, when I say scepter, I'm talking trolleys, buses, L's, Broad Streets, whatever scepter was. Bang on there. For you to even sit at the table of what was called kings. That ain't what's done now. Right. These motherfuckers go up on what, 3-4 roofs on I-95, take pictures of it, and they kings. Where the fuck that come from?
Right.
Come on.
Right, man. The game is kind of like fucked up.
Come on. You know, if you a white guy, you know, I don't see you out in West. I don't see you out in North. I see you in the Northeast.
Right.
No, you go back in the day, you had Pretty Boy walking routes in West Philly. Pretty Boy was a white boy.
60 from
he
the market.
He got his 60 of the market. You see him in North
with the moon game.
The deep heart of North Philly. That's some shit.
That's some shit.
You had Rimco Rick. Getting on roofs in the middle of West Philly, North Philly, walking it like he lived there.
OHCS.
That's a motherfucking king.
Right.
That's putting in the work.
Right.
How many years?
And I'm going to tell you something. That's something else we talked about. Graffiti careers were shorter then because everybody was trying to get out of it by the time they reached 18. Because once you turn 18, this shit was legal.
Right.
They arrest your butt and take you to jail. But as long as you was a minor, you could get away with shit.
Right.
And it was followed a logical progression. Dave will bear this out. You was a writer. Then you were branching into different forms of crime. You know, you was some kind of hustler. You was a dancer. You got into the girls. You was GQ. It all took phases. In hindsight, looking back on it as a grown man, what that was the natural puberty type thing.
Growing up.
You growing up, right? That's what that was. So your graffiti career was basically ended at 18. It was very unusual for anybody to be writing graffiti past 18 because you was usually either going to jail. I'm sorry.
What year?
This was in the 70s that I'm talking about. You wasn't like as a Tank. Tank wasn't writing no graffiti when he was 18. Tank was a hustler, hustling hard. I mean, he wound up doing what he did, but he was still a hustler. JS wasn't really writing graffiti after he was dibbling and dabbling. You know, though I think JS was writing when he was in his 20s because JS went into the service and came out, and he was still king.
And he was going for what, 3 years?
JS was going for 3 years, and he was still king when he came out. And that was when people was killing. ACS was killing. There was a lot of kings out, or so-called kings out there. You had So Cool, Weed, Taz, Back, Duck, monsters. JS was still king. You know, and JS was a smart guy because when he seen somebody was coming up to take his rep, JS would combo with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm king and I see Sleaz coming up to take my rep, I might call him Sleaz. Let's go walk Broad Street. Right. Therefore, we both getting more hits, you know, but I'm still a little bit up here. JS was a smart motherfucker. Right. You understand what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to get at is that, you know, you wasn't really writing once you turned 18 because you would feel like an asshole if you got sent up, you got locked up. Motherfuckers say, what you in here for? Writing on the walls. Nah, that ain't cool.
Right.
That ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? You rather say something else.
And like you said, we started out as teenagers, you know what I mean?
That's
we didn't
right.
wait till we was 19 or 20 years
19,
old.
20, 25, 26 to start writing on the wall.
13, 14, 15 years old.
And I started late. I started when I was like 14, 15.
Yeah.
That was late for during that time.
Right.
You had people like TX. TX was like 9 years old, right on the walls.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? TX was a beast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You started young then because of something that young kids did. They ain't had nothing else to do.
Right.
You know, it was a thrill. You ain't had nobody wait until they was 25 to start writing. That wasn't done. But times change. You know, graffiti got more popular. It got more mainstream.
And you know, not only that, not to cut you off,
no,
that prime example was that is when Duck, when he was a young boy, hanging downtown, trying to follow Cornbread them around. Cornbread, Bobby Cool, Cutthroat Kid, Cool Earl and them following around, Titty, Dr. Cool following him around. And you know, they were still teenagers at the time.
But they was teenagers.
He was the adolescents.
Exactly.
Duck was, you know, maybe 12, 13 years old. These guys were like, you know, 17 years old, saying, go ahead, young boy, get out of here. You can't follow us. What you doing? He admired. He looked up to him to this day. Duck is scarred by the comments Cornbread made to him.
Duck got
get out of here, young boy. You can't hang with us.
About that. And Duck is king.
Yeah.
Duck don't got nothing to prove to nobody.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Duck has got to be one of the all-time kings.
Yeah.
And he got a complex because of what they told him back then.
No doubt.
It's crazy. It's bananas. Graffiti is a bananas type sport, man. It truly is. It truly is.
Like I was saying back about being kings and stuff, I remember my write-up in '83. So Mr. Blint gave an art exhibit. He's the curator of the show down in the city. Credit, Mark Groves, all of us was there. Sad, a.k.a. Rupp, Parrish was there, Not, Sucks.
Okay.
Surah was there. Yeah, there's a bunch of us there. Jay, Raz, a bunch of us. Pizzazz, T-Bone.
Okay.
A bunch of us. Man, it was a beautiful thing. '83, and I forget it. So, we all got our pieces hanging up, you know, abstract on, you know, canvas, spray paint on canvas, all the stuff. So, Jelly, Inquirer dude came to me. He said, that piece there, what do you call that? So I give him the name and the title of the joint. He said, what type of art do you call that? I said, to me, it's spray paint. Spray paint on canvas. He said, that work right there is abstract impressionist.
Okay.
I said, really? He said, yeah, he broke down what abstract impressionist was to me. I said, okay, yeah, I can feel that. He said, you know, did you mind if I do an interview with you? I said, no, I don't mind. All these guys here, he want to interview me. So I give him an interview, boom, boom, boom. And as the interview's over, everybody's waiting because, you know, we figured the newspaper's going to be out before the show is over. They're going to run to the first paper and see who's on it. Sucks is on the front. But the whole article's about me. Sucks is standing here with his piece and everything. But the whole article was about me.
Solid.
The man goes, he said, it's an imposing sunburst of a painting. In the lower right-hand corner is a name familiar to the long-time viewers of the Philadelphia city graffiti scene. He said, Daveski. I said, whoa!
Then you got it.
Yes, Daveski, who's been known to be on Amtrak and this and that and something, this and that and this and that. I said, whoa, wait. You know what I mean? I said, this dude did his research. I ain't telling him all this shit. You know what I mean? I ain't telling him all this, you know?
You got it.
And on the back page was a picture of me with my piece and everything.
Okay.
But it was a hell of an article, man. I thought about it, like, you know, this whole thing was drawn on the fact that this guy here is a king of SEPTA lines, Amtrak, highway. You see his shit everywhere, but he ain't writing no more. This is what he's doing now.
That's what he's doing that, right.
He's doing it on canvas now.
Right.
You know, right. And I read something on thread not too long ago saying that somebody said, I'd rather see illegal dudes piecing legal work than to see blah, blah, blah doing whatever he do. And I said, damn, that was deep because I have never committed to doing legal work.
Exactly.
I never co-signed, you know, canvases. When we did the interview with Cornbread, and they was asking us what we think about legal pieces.
Exactly.
I said, bottom line is this. I do not knock canvases or legal walls. But my thing is this. the city is my canvas.
Right. I do that shit wherever I want.
You know what I mean? Wherever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And my mind, my imagination is not limited to
just this.
a 10 by 7 or whatever.
Piece of canvas, right.
It's not limited to that. You know what I mean? If I could do a collage, I would combine 180 of my thoughts I got, put them together, and it's a collage.
There you got it. There you got it.
You know what I'm saying? Or any pieces that I've done in the past or whatever. Put them all together. That's my canvas.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I mean? I never co-signed to the legal walls and stuff like that.
With that same thing. I remember that. The other part to that was that the whole, and once again, I never knock nobody's hustle. If you could get paid doing graffiti, great. But
We do that shit for props.
graffiti, by its nature, is illegal.
That's right.
Okay? Don't ever forget that. That's the thrill of fucking graffiti. That's one of the major thrills in it, is that it's illegal.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Come on.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
That's what gives you that. That's what gets your nipples hard. That
Right.
shit is illegal.
Right. How
you
do
know,
you do this?
Exactly.
Right. How do you
and
do this?
because it's that you
Midnight
have no
Marauder.
rules to it.
I was out here at 5 o'clock this
Exactly.
morning. It wasn't here. Now it's
Exactly.
9 o'clock. It's here.
And it's here.
How did that happen?
How did this happen? Fuck. That's the thrilling graffiti.
That's right. How did that happen?
Okay, and your peers saying, damn, how he do that?
How did
How
he
he
do
do that? He fucked
How
that
the
up.
fuck
Yeah,
he do
get out
that?
there.
He did the pussy to
How he get out
that.
there?
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's the thrill of graffiti. Once again, not knocking nobody's legal laws or like the gallery that we all did. Not knocking that.
Right.
But we didn't do that because we thought we was getting paid.
No.
That was a pleasant afterthought.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not why we did it. We did fucking graffiti.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what we do.
I just want to speak on how, like, you know, dudes today that do this shit, it's like, I don't be knowing what they doing it for. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I don't see no progression in your hand. Like, what you doing it for? You know what I'm saying? Because I took pride in, for me being a kid, like my mother would tell you, that this is what I wanted to do. You understand what I'm saying? So for the years I've been practicing, and I'm still practicing, you know, I be wondering, like, dudes that been writing, you know, 10, 15, 20 something years, what is you doing?
And still can't write.
And still can't write.
Right.
What the fuck is you writing on walls for? Just to be fucking shit up? I mean, for us, because this how, like, the public views it as a nuisance. Us writers view that bullshit as a nuisance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That gives us all a bad name.
That gives us a bad name, because when you see some bullshit, you like, damn.
15 times over a block.
Right. And
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
I'd rather
exactly.
see one
exactly.
banging ass all rated X wicked spelled out
Then you got it.
than 99 whoever's
Right.
looking stupid as shit. Who dicks or whatever. Looking fucked
He gonna
up.
get some rep off of this, man.
Dick, his shit grams too.
Yeah, you don't fuck
That
up.
shit don't even bump his shit.
My whole
Who
thing
big?
be, I be wondering, like, what the fuck is y'all doing this shit for now? And it bothers me because, you know, dudes they got a couple hits or they might got a lot of hits. It don't fucking matter. But it's like, that's all you doing? Like that's it?
That's it.
And then you gonna tell you know, I'm a king of this and you scribble scrabbling. You know what I'm saying? Graffiti ain't scribble scrabble. The public think it's scribble scrabble. We got our own. This like our own language.
Exactly.
Our own
Exactly.
alphabet.
It's calligraphy.
You feel me?
Actually,
all that shit.
It's a language.
How we write. Can't nobody else do that.
Exactly.
So my thing is, if you gonna write graffiti, write that shit.
Exactly.
Don't just pick up some spray paint. Just people think once again because you got spray paint and your name's on the wall, it's graffiti. Fuck what the dictionary say. I'm saying what I'm saying. The shit we doing, that's a graffiti. I got a fucking hand out this world. My old heads got hands out this world. And there's other people that got hands, you know what I'm saying? So I be looking at a lot of these younger dudes, it's like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? And then like the styles that they is doing, to me, that tall shit, I'm not hating because I got some tall hands too. But that's the easiest thing to do. when you get to writing that shit and putting hooks all up in your shit and your shit leaning like this, that's when the shit can get confusing. And that's where they stop. And me and my niggas, we keep going.
Exactly.
Like, we done ran past y'all like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all like, damn, I can't get no further. It's like Mario Brothers, you can't get past the first board. We done beat the game already. So what the fuck is y'all writing for?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What is y'all writing for?
You might as well just leave that
You might as
space
well
for us.
quit.
Don't even get your shit up.
Y'all in the
Just leave that
fucking way,
space for
man.
us.
Because these dudes right here, I ain't mean cut you off, been doing this shit 30-something years, man. You feel what I'm saying?
Respect that shit.
Respect what these niggas is doing. And by respecting it, you gotta acknowledge what they doing and take something from it and build on it.
Exactly.
You feel what I'm saying? Because they bullshit, because different ain't always good. You feel me? All that shit they be thinking is, I got my own. That shit is trash. This Sleaz talking, that shit, all that shit, 95% of this shit on the walls is trash. Mm-hmm. That 5% that's heat, they niggas that I be with. You feel what I'm saying? Or people that I know personally.
Right.
Other than that shit is trash.
Up was up is up, but up with style is
Up with style, a whole new thing.
Something entirely
a
different.
whole nother
Because
Entirely
if-
different.
Like say,
Because anybody could get up.
anybody
can get
Once again, that
Get
goes
it
back to
trained.
what I always said.
Yeah.
Anybody could do that. It don't take no brains to do that. It take brains to come up with something that's different from what everybody else is doing and that look alright.
and exactly, and how
It take brains.
how they was writing back then. To you gotta figure, 30 years ago, they didn't have nothing to really build on.
Exactly.
Like that. You feel what I'm saying?
You had to create.
They
They were
had-
inventing.
They was inventing. They was on
Exactly.
some. You gotta figure that's in the time when Parliament was out. You understand?
Exactly.
Dr. Funkenstein and everybody was being they self.
Everybody was being very inventive.
They weren't listening to rap writing. They was listening to that other shit. You feel
I
what I'm
know
saying?
I was.
So
That's right.
they didn't have nothing to build on. They just was like, damn, let me do it like
Built
this.
their own shit.
Let me do it like that. Let me do it like this.
You look at something like a So Cool's S. Come on.
Whoa.
Wasn't nothing else out like that before he came out with it.
Fox.
Fox.
Roy Cool.
Those were original.
Cool.
That's original stuff.
In the day,
That's original stuff there.
these
Let's
dudes.
speak on Roy Cool, man. Let's speak on Roy Cool, man.
Hey, look, Roy, once again, I can't say it enough. All-time classic.
Right. Always gonna be a legend in my book.
A definite legend in Philly graph. He influenced so many people. It's like ridiculous.
Right.
It's bananas.
Right.
Most of the best. If you could think of a writer that you think is good, or it has a decent hand, 9.5 times out of 10, they got a Roy Cool influence in them somewhere along the line.
He was one of the first off-route writers that I recognized, not being on a route. Like, down my way, there's a lot of tracks when I was born and raised at down my way, down the park and the zoo and all like that. And I would walk those lines as a young buck, you know, and I was in my writing stage too, and be Roy Cool's. Roy Cool's on the fucking...
And you're like, what the fuck is he doing down
What
here?
the fuck? Yeah.
Like he lived there.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, if you didn't live in a neighborhood and you had hits, it was usually because it was a route going through there, some kind of sector route.
Right.
It was very seldom you seen people who got hits in your neighborhood like they lived there and they didn't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Actually.
And not only that, I know that Roy Cool was probably influenced by Dr. Cool.
Dr. Cool, yeah.
And, you know, Dr. Cool was one of the guys that...
The originals with cornbread.
Right, with cornbread. And he's one of the guys, like when I was coming up, you know, I was with the gang war style hands, something like Dr. Cool and Cool, Klepto Kid.
Right.
Them dudes, man.
Cool.
Them dudes was original with styles and flavor and everything. But I could see where Roy Cool got his influence from. From Dr. Cool. I'm going to put it out there. It had to be because, I mean, when I think of Dr. Cool, I think of Roy Cool.
Exactly. You
know, I think of them two guys like almost, you know, parallel. Like, you know, I see Dr. Cool there, I see Roy Cool right next to him.
That's right.
Roy Cool was the first guy that I seen to do any type of style with his letters, like that would make it seem like wicked, different. He separated himself from other writers.
Everybody else. Roy was the first one to come out with them three letter name before KDL or KBS or he was STN,
the original Satan.
The original Satan.
Original Satan.
And I mean, Roy was also the first one Roy was the first one to be acknowledged as being the best in the city as far as writing. He was the first one.
Okay.
He was the first one that people would. It was just acknowledged that he was the best as far as writing. Maybe he didn't have the biggest rep. Maybe he didn't have JS's rep or So Cool's rep, but he had a rep.
Oh, yeah.
Roy Cool was a beast.
He was a beast.
Had a lot of hits, but he was acknowledged as being the best writer as far as hands in the city. He was the first one.
Wow.
You know, and he was a major influence. When I first met him,
What age were you?
I was like 16. I was in a club called Club City Decorators. No, I had just got out of Club City Decorators and was starting Sam. And I was alright. I had a nice hand. Okay, I could bang with some people as far as hands go. I moved to my pop's house. My mom had put me out, you know, because I was doing the wrong things and stuff. She put me out. I had to live with my father. My father lived down the street from Roy. It was a blessing in disguise for me. You know, and at that time, we talking 77, 78, yeah, around that time frame. Roy wasn't even writing no more. He was basically getting out of it.
Yeah, I know it was like 77.
Yeah, about 77, 78. He was pretty much done with
You had any
it.
idea what age he was at that point?
Roy was my age. But he had been through the whole graffiti thing.
Yeah.
You know, and around that way, Roy was like, number one, he was only Roy around there. Roy is not a normal name for a black kid.
Yeah.
He was only Roy around there.
Right.
Okay, and he wrote Roy Cool. Anybody could read it. It was plain. And everybody knew who he was. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy. But he was very cool. All the girls loved him. Once again, we adolescents. We going through puberty. You trying to get that appreciation from the girls. He had it. Girls loved him. Guys done him, wanted to be like him. Blase, blah, 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 blase. So for me to go down his spot, and for him to sit down, we sit around writing. You know, he put stuff to me like we put stuff to Sleaz. Just writing. You know, and you look at what they writing. Wow, let me try to do that. Blah 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 blah. And we went on like that. And the thing with Roy, he was very cool about it. His parents knew what he did.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he couldn't hide it. He wrote on his walls, his bedroom walls. You know,
He was Roy fucking.
yeah, he was Roy Cool. You know, his mom jumped on him because I think he got caught writing Roy Cool in RC. She couldn't read his RC, but she knew what it was when she seen it. Okay, and she busted him on it. So that's when he came out with STN. Saying he changed his name so his mom wouldn't know who he was. Okay, now if you look, and I tell people all the time, but they don't understand, Roy was not a wild styler. You know, his RC was the wildest thing he ever did.
Right.
Roy was the neatest writer, though, in history. His shit was like a stamp.
Wow.
And he influenced people like Brett,
Right.
Way,
Everybody from
Daz,
uptown.
all them uptown guys, he influenced. Because they all wanted to write like him. They couldn't do his wild style.
Right.
But his neatness, they banked on it. That was it. And like I said, most of the people who, back in the day, you would think was a good writer, they were influenced by him. He was just that influential. And I told anybody, yeah, he influenced me. And he gave me the courage, him and this guy named Teef, Old Timer Teef from HTS, gave me the courage to branch out with Sam because I was in a high-power club. I was in Club City Decorators, which at that time was bombing everything.
Right.
Scepter was theirs.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Club City Decorators killed everything. Rimco Rick. Duck was from KCD.
Yes.
Okay? Everything they touched, they was bruising it. Okay? So I was coming from that club and to start my own thing,
Right.
which was kind of
That's a
scary
big
at
step.
times. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you go down 11 from Market Street, yo, ain't you from KC? No, I'm from Sam. Sam? Fuck is that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Fuck Sam. You know? So it was kind of scary, but those, T and Roy was two of the guys that kept me going with that. You know, Roy told me, he said, you know, you're going to be a bad boy. He said, because you got imagination, you have creativity, and you ain't scared. You can do this. Then, of course, he would say, yo, pass me that blunt, you know. But he was just a cool dude that way, you know, keeping you going. And he acknowledged that he, like, I go to Roy's house, Roy immediately spoke, you know, I never smoked, you know, but Roy, in order for him to really get into his flow, he had to smoke a doobie. He said, you the only motherfucker, he told me, you the only motherfucker I know who can flow with just some cookies and milk. I said, yeah, I can do that. And he acknowledged that. And he would go down enough for Mark and say, even though he wasn't writing really no more, he still held check.
Right.
He said, that's my boy. He won't be a bad boy. And we would start writing. He said, you can't touch him. And it got to be true. You know, and he told me, he said, you the best in the scene. He said, fuck what they say. He said, I'm going to tell you, because it's just me and you. You got me. You the best. And I start throwing that shit down in the from market. I ain't say Roy told me, because then I sound like a chump.
Right.
I'd be like, fuck it, let's get some paper. Give me the confidence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where you from? Sam? Yeah, Sam. The fuck is that? Sam is this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is what I do. And my head start getting big and my arrogance start coming out. You know, fuck you, I write your name better than you, bitch.
Right.
Then they come to, MB, why don't you show me how to write this?
Right.
The same motherfuckers who was like, fuck 6 Sam.
Yeah.
Fine, I'm from
crazy-
HCS. I'm Hip City Sleaz.
And the
Hey,
crazy
great.
part, these dudes that write today, everybody got so much damn pride that they don't want to, you know,
Don't wanna learn.
nothing
Exactly.
from nobody else.
Exactly.
Or the
Exactly.
history. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Who
Because
came before you?
Exactly.
Who paved the path?
Exactly.
and they don't want to acknowledge that. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's like, without people before you, shit, you can't really,
Exactly.
unless you really took it there, you know what I'm saying? Unless you really, if you going in the right direction with it, because it's like, I feel as though me personally, can't nobody really tell me shit, because I got the approval from the dudes from before my time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For them to actually, like, Sleaz, what's up? You got some paint? We out.
Mm-hmm.
They calling me, want to write with me. Can't no nigga on this earth tell me nothing when I'm writing with legends.
That's what I'm
You dig me?
talking about.
Because
you were talking about that
I'm
before.
at
You get
their-
the respect of that.
I met their
They tell you
approval.
shit, man.
You feel what I'm saying?
They may tell you shit.
I met their approval. And these dudes, they ain't writing with just anybody.
That's right.
Niggas everybody in the city will love writing with these dudes. They be on some, no, I don't do that shit no more. Still, you know what I mean? Like, I'm cool, yeah, I talk with you, you know what I mean? Giving niggas the brush off, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, today, and it really makes me mad because this is my generation. And it's like, I be wanting, you know, I don't want to be the only one. It's only one person that I'm confident, and they don't know him, and this is my combo, my man Clan. He on his way home from a little, he could write. You know what I'm saying? When they meet him, they gonna see he could write, because me and him, when we was kids, we used to go at it and come up with styles, like, we had a thing where every night we went on rock, we'd write a different style. You know what I'm saying? Because we wanted to push the envelope, looking
That's what's up.
you know, we used to be kids looking at like, damn, you see that So Bad Wicked, or you see that Rated X, or you see a Truck, or Star, or like, damn, you see that, then we'd go home and try to mimic it and do it in our way. You know what I'm saying? Dudes today, I'll be like, and then it's like, it's even, I think they got a little, I mean, it's like, you know, double-edged sword. The internet now, a lot of them flicks on there, if I was them, I'll be home with my paper in front of my computer, practicing. Seriously.
And not posting.
And not post. I won't post shit. You feel what I'm saying? I'll be sitting there practicing, because you got to figure, they got pictures from the 70s. Because when certain pictures they see, they have a fit.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah, that's the bull such and such. You know, this is from before I was born and stuff. Like, yeah, he used to write it like this and write it like that. And they get to talking. I'm just sitting back listening. You know, I'm still a kid. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, these dudes today, it's like, man, all right, y'all on the internet, y'all talking all that shit. Y'all, your hand this, your hand that. Yeah, well, I don't believe you. And I feel as though you should be studying, because you have this shit in your face.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. They got stuff they can draw from.
Right, they got stuff they can draw from.
Exactly.
It's like they got the walls and they help.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a reference.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't really have nothing. They didn't have nothing to draw from.
Exactly.
They might see some on the wall and try to remember it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But now it's like you got basically a damn dictionary, basically a graffiti picture book. Like that.
At your disposal.
At your fucking disposal. And you still ain't got no fucking
That shit
hands.
is crazy, man.
Exactly. Kill yourself.
You know what? And the comment on that, I remember looking on the internet one day and I seen somebody said something about Rakan.
They said Rakan got the wickedest hand
and everything.
And I like Rakan. Don't get me wrong.
I love him. You know what? For years, people had a beef.
I met Rakan and I told him, I said, I like your style. Where the fuck I tell him that? Then he started changing this shit all up into some old ugly, stupid looking shit. Still, what the fuck you had?
Yeah.
That shit was ice. Perfect that shit. All I said was I liked your drawing. I said you have to start trying to write like me because everybody can't write like me. Right. Keep this shit to yourself and expand on that.
Right.
But I seen that same shit. Rakan is the wickedest hand. And I wanted to put it. Ask Rakan who the wickedest hand he ever seen.
And I
you know what I'm saying?
That. I said, yo, check your history, man.
Exactly.
And I put my name down there, ZAB. I said, yo, check your history, man. Check your history before you make a comment like that. That's exactly what I said.
Because what you're doing is you're insulting us.
And the dude he replied back saying, yo, Dave, I was just saying that his styles are hot or whatever. I'm just not saying.
Then fucking say that.
Exactly.
Don't fucking say it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, to say that is telling me, like, you know.
Like he swept y'all under the rug.
Yeah.
And the crown lays with him.
You know, and
I like his shit.
He can be nice.
I like his shit.
Ask Rakan who he look up to.
I like his shit.
You understand what I'm saying?
I ain't got to tell you.
Because when I met him, Rakan was bowing at my feet. And I told him, I said, I like your joint. His hand swelled, which, like I said, that's what we do. If you can't, if I tell you, man, I like your shit, you're gonna be like, damn. And B said he likes my shit. That makes you special. Because I don't like everybody's shit. And I got an eye for what's good and what's not good. Ask Rakan who he liked. You know what I'm saying? Don't be talking come on. You must not look behind your block.
For years, matter of fact, when I talked to Karma, she said, hey, Dave, I know you don't like him. I know I heard her have some beef or something. I said, no, I never had no beef. Yeah, I said, I never had no beef with him. As a matter of fact, me, Sleaz, and Aqua was together. And we was in a car. Right. He rolled up on us. We was parked. He walked up on us. I didn't know who the fuck he was. He said something slick and Sleaz it. We didn't even recognize who he was. Sleaz like, damn, what'd you say, dude? And it was him. Then he was like, you know, so we got off, so we got some tags. He was like, yeah, man, I be doing my little thing here and there, man. He said, but I got to really work hard to keep up with guys like Dave and, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Ask Rakan who he look up to.
He know. I mean,
you understand where I'm coming from?
Let me say this for y'all young punks that's listening. These old timers is not dissing Rakan.
No, we are
Let's
not
get
dissing
that clear before y'all get it fucked up.
I like Rakan.
I like Rakan shit.
Right.
Rakan is like KMD King.
Right.
Everybody after him, with the exception of him, Kane, and like one or two other dudes. You know what I'm saying? He the man. You understand what I'm saying? They not dissing him, but it ain't necessarily like these people like when they hype up Cadism and Bulls and all that. It don't be them. It be the motherfuckers on their dick.
Exactly.
That be like, yeah, they the best.
Exactly. Because writers know. Writers know. You know, if somebody came to me and said, man, you know what? All your hits is just the shit. I mean, you ain't never had a bad hit. You just the shit. I know better than that. I know somebody who was never an open. That's Maniac. That a lot of people ain't even up on. But Maniac got some shit for their ass.
Yeah.
They just don't know it. I know writers. I know styles. You understand what I'm saying? I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I know there's people in Sam right now that could write better than me. But they wouldn't be able to write as good as they do if it wasn't for me. in the first place. They had something to build on. You understand what I'm saying?
And that's why I go back to So Bad.
Understand that.
When he first was inducted in the SAM, he already had a hand in the style.
Exactly.
Now, anybody else I know that was in SAM was influenced by NBO Maniac or
somebody else that was
top
in the original
echelon
SAM. Right.
who passed off some,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that kind of like I said again, you know what I mean, put a chapter for us that, you know, even though they was our rivals and they took one of our members,
It's real.
is, you know what I mean, yeah. That, you know, at any point, if we wanted to get in Sam or be Sam, we could.
Exactly.
But, you know, I always have respect for Sam because you gotta realize the letters and stuff that you see from them, they made that shit up, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
They had nothing else to draw from. They had to go ahead and create their own style.
Internet.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that Credit made a comment on about Sad. Sad was one of the best writers in his time because he had no internet and no books to draw from.
Exactly.
Sad went on initially develop a style, and even though he started even writing TET, the Equal Team from up New York and whatnot. I mean, I can tell you, Sad in Paris. Met them dudes back, man, early 80s, late 70s, outside of Sounds. They had pictures of works that they'd done on the trains already.
Exactly. Exactly.
Philly boys just as tough as the New York style dudes. Their pieces, I'm looking at this shit like, y'all did this shit?
That's right.
This is unheard of for Philly writers.
That's right.
On the trains up in New York.
What year?
This had to be, man, 70s, man, 79.
The late 70s,
78, 79.
And Parrish was insane. He was who used to write 9. Vicious boy. Vicious hand. Sad was a young boy who was an old-timer back then. Sad was another dude been writing since he was like 8, 9 years old.
Young boy. Pictures of the dudes on
Come
the net
down
now.
to Market Street and got big props.
Pictures on that big, man.
Okay, the boy was no joke. He was no joke. The boy was all that, and I give him much props. God bless his dead, but
yeah, sad.
He was a cool dude. And in the world of graffiti, graffiti could get vicious. Sad was one of the few people you couldn't find nobody say nothing bad about.
Right.
He was just a cool dude.
Right.
Rare.
Right.
Very rare.
Right.
Very rare. Just a cool dude. And write his ass off. Very cool dude. Very influential on a lot of them, the 5 guys. Anybody coming out of South Philly from the 80s on up was influenced by
Sad.
Influenced by Bobby Sad.
At this point right now, Star still runs around with the
Star
obituary.
idolizes Sad. Stars from Sam. And when I say there were some people in Sam who could write better than me, Star.
He's one of them.
Star got to be the most vicious hand that I've seen to this day, that I've personally seen. It might be somebody out there better than him. I don't know him. I don't know that person. From what I've seen, Star got to be the best hand that ever came out. Definitely.
Straight up.
And he was influenced by Sad. He was influenced by a boy named Slack.
Mm-hmm.
Slack, another very underrated writer.
So many.
Along with, but the most underrated is Popcorn.
Yeah.
So it's a boy named Popcorn was a beast, man. Popcorn. I mean, shit. What can't you say about it? He was one of the original Roof Kings.
Right.
What year did he smash?
Popcorn smashed from like 74 on up to maybe 78.
Yeah.
You understand? Rooftops, buses. Popcorn was one of the most original writers that ever come out of this city.
Yeah.
Popcorn wrote Popcorn. He wrote Tab. He was the original E-Man. He wrote Dr. Seuss. He did rooftops. He did buses, walls. He created clubs, K&P, Club Notorious Printers, which was an influence on all West Philly styles.
All West Philly styles. 60th Market.
Anybody coming out of West Philly was influenced by it.
Right.
He was a beast. He was the one that JS said was his closest rival. Yes. Popcorn was a beast. His original club was what? ICP. Popcorn's original club was ICP, and then he got in HCS. Popcorn was a beast. he's definitely one of the people that I looked up to. And he's a very, very, very underrated writer. He had underground sewed up tight. Sewed up tight. He had undergrounds from the L on the underground, the elevated trains, from when you first go in the tunnel in West Philly all the way down to Center City was popcorn.
We're gonna have to wrap it up because of my battery.
Okay, cool.
So maybe we'll do this again at some point, but kind of put an ending on it, so it seems like it ends. You know what I mean? So it's not just like.
Okay.
Right. I got a tape, man. You might be interested in, man. I'll let you hold it. The next time we meet, you just bring it back.
All right.
An interview with Satan.
Okay. Oh, you did get that too?
I got the tape. Okay. You know, yeah. You know what I mean?
So we want to end this?
How do you want it? How do you want it? I don't even know.
No, wait, no. It's still on right now?
Yeah, it's on right now. I'll try to just make it quick because the battery.
Again, I think that, you know, since we have the knowledge that we are responsible, it's incumbent upon us to spread the knowledge to the younger generations about Philly Graph and to keep it going and to be able to you know, spread that knowledge and ignite the spark that's going to bring about a change. You know,
exactly.
Continuity is definitely key for Philly Graffiti, and like I said, a lot of people hated on ADS and Prozac and them, but like I said, you know, the buffers are there and them guys is everywhere. So you know, I made a good choice.
We had people hating on Sleaz because we put him in Sam.
Right.
You know, but Sleaz is going to be a beast. He's going to be the best that ever came out. And the whole thing is he's going to know the true history, which a lot of people don't know. And this is what, like Dave said, it's incumbent on us older guys, old timers, to let people know the true history. This ain't going to be the end of it. You know, we hope to get more people in on the interviews that can give you true history instead of some old bullshit.
You know, and like I said, I used to make a comment about buffing the net and let the vets keep the walls wet, because I felt that was the true grassroots of just grafting, the bastard child of hip hop. But now that we got a new spark in the new younger generation, guys like Sleaz, the big homie, and a few other guys like ADS and them, I know that we're doing the right thing, and it's going to go on.
And whoever was mad that I got in Sam, they can't write better than me. Holla.